Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Obiajulu Ugbo, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing. It's the weekend, and I'm inviting everybody to come shop at my store. Family Affairs Plaza, Ikate, Lekki. You should come and shop. Come and help my business. I'm already thinking of the rent for next year. You know, and a lot of things are having to change. I've gotten somebody to help me handle my books. I've actually been doing the business like a hobby for the longest of time. When I just buy, I sell, I put the money back. But now I need to start structuring my payments, my expenses. I know somebody is doing it for me, and I'm like, okay, this is how it's really done. You know, so I'm soliciting for support. If you should come and shop, come and buy. We have amazing things for you guys.
Certainly. I still love my dress. I got another dress.
Yes,
oh, lovely, lovely. How are you doing, Nima?
I'm very, very grateful to God for another day. Yesterday was, let me say, easy for business. So the first phone call, a customer was upset about business, accused my staff of stealing from her. And so we had to play the cameras, we had to beg her, manage that. And I went back, and then NEPA decided to come and disconnect. I have applied for prepaid meters since June at that particular business. NEPA, you know, the disco refused to deliver the meters, and yet decided to escalate bills. I get up to 40,000 estimated bills monthly. I'm not finding it funny in business. I left there to go and bag 10 kgs of rice, 10 whole bags into 10 kg. Wow. And the machine decided to blow up.
That's 100 bags. That's a lot of bags.
No, 10 bags, you get 10 kgs out of that. So
that's a lot of bags.
I didn't find, as in, by the time I got into the house, it was past 9. And I must say shout out to my support system. Yolu, Olaolu, Kunle, and their wives, amazing support system for me. They made sure they were just helping through to make it easier. I can't do without those people. I'm grateful for them.
So happy.
So
these days, we need to go and just go and do a small party for your support system. Just go and
you.
Celebrate the Yolo and the crew.
I tried to do it every
Yolo and crew. If I need a cartoon, a nice animation, Yolo and the crew.
I should do a book about
Yolo and the crew.
Amazing. They're amazing.
Yolo and the crew. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm fine.
How are the vultures? You haven't spoken about your vultures in a while.
Well, interesting that you should talk about that, because that was why I was at the British Deputy High Commission yesterday.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go there.
Celebrate the birthday of
the King.
His Majesty, the King of England, and because he, you know, his passion is the environment and conservation. So I was one of those who was invited. It was a nice affair. I loved it. I loved what I wore. I wore that Sephia's dress. And I got
loads of attention.
Compliments.
I can imagine.
Loads of compliments. And even I think because of my dress, I got like more invitations to other things. So it was lovely to be there and network.
I was also invited, but guess why I didn't go?
Why?
I don't like going to events where I cannot eat comfortably.
You know
when you go to an event, this kind of event, you have to just be...
It's proper.
You know, you have to... It's the King's birthday. Everybody has to look a certain way.
You will sit, you'll be standing.
Standing, and you're just there and just being very nice. Everybody just... You know, I'm like...
And eat from your house now.
So usually whenever I go... Yes, if I had known you were going, maybe I would have made the effort to go. I wanted to call Ada, dress up. I knew it was trad. That was the theme, you know, become African. I said, well, if I'm going to wear this, I want to go and eat at the party. No, we're going to go party. You go to party, you're all doing all, you know, it's not, I'm not in the mood for this kind of funny party, Jerry, but I'm so happy that you were there. I really wish I knew. I would have made the effort to be there. Fantastic. Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we return, I'll look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. States, FCT, or federal government's 1.72 trillion naira budget support cash. Tinubu to decide on Minister Lalong's Senate seat. Africa Development Bank's $1 billion boost to create 500,000 jobs in agri sector. Jusun disowns Osun chapter strike over government's row with CJ. Lasma GM Oreagba removed in shakeup. PDP governors confident Lawal Muftang will get justice. Appeal court voids tribunal verdict sacking Sule. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Major headline.
Major headline.
According to the Minister for Finance, Wale Edu, they would no longer be doing the BSF, the budget support funds for states. He said at yesterday's meeting that the states owe the federal government about 1.7 trillion naira, a total of that amount as outstanding liabilities on the budget support facility that government, the past administration gave to states across board. And they have to stop it at this time because now there's increase in the revenue that comes to the FAC now, and also the economic realities now cannot support them continuing it with it. So the Enugu State Deputy Governor, who spoke to reporters, said the minister had mentioned that each state owe about 50 billion each, as part of the funds that they have been owing. So this was discussed at the National Economic Council meeting yesterday, chaired by the Vice President. And they continue to look at other alternatives where states can now generate their own funds. They opted to allocate a portion of funds from the federal account to settle some of these outstanding liabilities and bring closure to that program. I hope that the states will sit up. We were talking about states the other day and how they are spending large, big. They should be spending realistically, cutting coats according to size and power. Thanks.
According to their clocks.
Even yesterday, the vet I went for the small food that they gave us. I said, they are on a budget. They cannot be giving big food.
Even parties, a whole 80th birthday and the death.
That was
Small celebration. They didn't even do party. From church, carry your gun and go. Everybody go. I was like, hey,
we are all on a budget.
okay, we're celebrating life.
So the National Economic Council on Thursday, that was yesterday, announced plans to at least to channel $1.52 billion donor funds into 36 special agro-industrial processing zones across the nation. And their aim is to create over 18.1 million jobs, including 100,000 farmers nationwide. They said the first phase had started already, which now runs in Kano, Kaduna, Kwara, Ogun, Oyo, Imo, Cross River State, as well as the FCT. And that will go up over $520 million, and is set to conclude by 2028. They said 26 states also have expressed interest in joining the phase 2 of the program, where they will be spending $1 billion funding from the Africa Development Bank, and other partners also will channel money into that. And the state will begin documentation for the second phase next year, 2024. So the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, was the one who revealed this to House correspondents after the conclusion of the 137th National Economic Council meeting, which was presided by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Aso Rock yesterday. And he said the funds were earlier pledges by the African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development. And they voted $1 billion to deliver in 24 states. And this is already going on. So it's a good one for people in the agricultural sector now that money is coming in to ensure that there are jobs that are provided for everyone. Also are going to be planning the processing so that, especially for states that have decided to pick up, I think Kano has keyed into producing a lot of tomatoes, and we know that there's usually a lot of wastage when it comes to perishable goods because they are not able to preserve it. So they are going to be focusing more on the preservation of tomatoes so that we don't waste a lot. It's a good one, yeah. Well done, government.
Because sometimes, like when you're driving through Benue State, you know that a lot of oranges there. The wastage you just see is sad.
We should have.
So that's something we should look at. I have a story. So in Ogun State, they say the construction of bus stations for the takeoff of the compressed natural gas mass transit along the Lagos-Ibadan Express axis will begin very soon. They said the stations are to be sited in Mowe, Ibafo, Arepo, and Bega axis of the expressway. And the Commissioner for Transportation, Dairo Olubenga, was the one that was talking, he was at a program in Ogun State and was talking about it. He said the construction will commence in earnest as necessary implementation frameworks are being put in place. And then he urged people to support the state government by enabling the construction of the activity. I would like to quote what he said, because I was quite proud of it. He says, "I want to use this medium to plead to our people for their support, as this is another integral development geared towards easing the movement of people and goods in Ogun State, which will serve as respite to environmental pollution by reducing emissions and promoting a cleaner and safer environment in the state. I just love the level of conversations we're having now, what we're providing. So good transportation as well as keeping our environment clean and safer.
The areas closest to Lagos, Arekbo and others. So I guess it was very strategic for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Judiciary Staff Union, JUSUN, has dissociated itself from the ongoing protest and strike by some members against the embattled Chief Judge, Justice Oyebola Ojo, suspended by Governor Adeleke. JUSUN leadership described the picketing by judicial workers as a means to settle political score. According to them, they said JUSUN is a responsible union, has never and would never take any perceived or real partisan position in all its activities with any individual or organization. Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has never directed or approved that any of its members should proceed on any protest or picketing in Osun State Judiciary or any other state to settle any perceived or real political scores. This is really important for them to come out to say that. Okay, The Punch. NNPCL ends fuel imports December 2024. Says projects 4.5 trillion naira revenue. That would be really good. Let me read that story. Federal government states plan 18 million agri jobs, $1.5 billion funds. Government to fish out prison warders aiding Boko Haram. Tinubu assents bill on local military equipment production. Ondo police arrest housemaid son over killing of boss. Cash crunch worsens food spending drops by 3 trillion. And NAF decorates 12 combat pilots vow tough times for terrorists. Okay, which story?
Okay, so I have the Tinubu assents on bill on local military equipment. So the chairman of the House Representatives Committee on Defense, Baba Jimmy Benson, had sponsored the bill, titled the Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria Act 2023, and it's become an act now. It's been signed by the president into law. Was a bill at the time. This bill, of course, gives power to the Nigerian Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria to operate, maintain, control subsidiaries and ordnance factories to manufacture, store, and dispose of ordnance and ancillary stores and materials. So, we produce our own weapons in our own Nigerian English. And I love the fact that they emphasize on storage. The Act also provides how financing would be generated, how private businesses can also come into it, and also how research. So the bill also established Defense Industry Technology Research and Development Institute to enable scientific research-based technology foundation for Nigerian defense industry. So I hope that this holistic bill would empower us.
It's all sounding good on paper. Just great.
Sounds
Done. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing points. Let me take the major headlines. So the Nigerian National Petroleum, I have to take this story very slowly so that you can hear.
All right.
NNPCL on Thursday said it will end the importation of refined petroleum products by December 2024, as all the country's refineries will be operational by then.
2024.
Okay, well, let's write it down.
Mele Kyari disclosed this when he led officials to the company to a meeting. Specifically, he said, I can confirm to you, this is Mele speaking now. Mr. Kyari says, I can confirm to you that by the end of December this year, we will start the Port Harcourt refinery. Early in the first quarter 2024, we will start the Warri refinery. By the end of 2024, Kaduna refinery will be into operation. Hey.
Sure.
Hey, blood of Jesus. This is the commitment we are giving today. And you can hold us accountable for this. In 2024, many of the initiatives, including the rehab of our refineries and also the efforts at small scale, will make Nigeria the exporter of petroleum in 2024. Please, I hope I can hold Mele Kyari to this, because I'm going to screen grab this conversation.
We have marked it.
I'll mark the date.
That scares me.
let's
It's the December one. The rest
that
is
Port Harcourt
maybe
one.
possible.
So December
But we must scale
2024.
No. Refer Port Harcourt this month, this year.
Next month.
This end of
Tomorrow,
this year.
December one.
Read it again. I
Yeah.
had to, I
No.
saw 2024.
That's for everything.
Okay.
By next year, 2024 will be good.
Okay.
But this year, the Port Harcourt.
That's just
That's-
next month.
First quarter next year is Warri.
That looks
Then Kaduna before they are. Okay, I don't have to take the story very slowly.
Keep this for
We need
us.
to
Keep this
it,
show.
because we will review it again on December 21st. 2024, we will review this matter. Go ahead, another story.
Yes, I have the picture story. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has winged 12 new combat pilots from the Basic Flying Course 20 at the 403 Flying Training School in Kano. The Chief of Army Staff had charged the pilots to justify the efforts and resources invested in their training by contributing their best towards sustaining the successes recorded in the various theaters of operation within the country. He also says that that NAV had continued to conduct independent and joint operations aimed at decimating criminals and denying the freedom of action, as well as shaping the operational environment of various theaters. See, in summary, he's charging the pilots. He says, now you people are coming at a time where the security environment in Nigeria is quite fluid and unpredictable. We're fighting Boko Haram, there are killings and kidnappings across the country. So we need you to do your best. Make good these resources and this training that you have received over time, and wishing these young pilots, all the best and all success. And please, may all the Boko Haram people die, not our pilots. In
Our
Jesus'
young one.
name.
Amen. So
the
yeah,
Ondo
sorry.
State Police Command has arrested 3 persons in connection with the death of a woman, Mrs. Iyanu Adamoleko, in Arigidi Akoko in Akoko Northwest local government area of the state. So they said the woman is a retired teacher and was allegedly killed in her room while sleeping, and the suspects took away her mobile phone, left her lifeless body. So her body was discovered by her grandchildren in the afternoon when they came back from school. So the suspects who they caught were identified as Oluwaseun Mubarak, Rewan Oluwaseun, who are the house helps of the woman and Mubarak's mother. And according to the police, they said they had tracked the phone to the phone of the deceased to the people who had the phone, and the suspects later assisted the police to get the other accomplices, and they now explained what happened, that they came into the room that particular day, used a table to break her head, and while she was struggling, one of them strangled her, and then they took the phone. They didn't tell us if there was any other thing that they took, and then disappeared. But they are in custody now and investigation.
Sad. Daily Sun, aftermath of CDS allegation, FG orders prison warders probe over Boko Haram inmates. Umuada Ibo ask Tinubu to free Kanu. Troops kill 99 terrorists, arrest 198 others in 1 week. Suspension of Nigeria by FATF sends wrong signals to investors, says Sislak. 4-year education roadmap underway, says Minister. FG to channel $1.5 billion donor funds into 36 pubs. And appeal court reverse sack of Nasarawa governor affirms Yahaya's victory in Gombe. And Rivers Assembly court threatens contempt order against Amewule and Mao.
I have the major headline in the Sun again. And this time around, our darling Olubumi Tunji-Ojo, the Minister for Interior, have reacted to what the Chief of Defense Staff said at the House of Reps appearance that he did, where he accused the staff of the prison's Nigerian Correctional Service of conniving with Boko Haram terrorists that were arrested and detained at the correctional services across the country, with assisting them to finance further attacks within the country. So they use their account to help them push funds, and they do a 50-50 sharing, according to the Chief of Defense Staff. And this, of course, immediately, Tunji-Ojo reacted. He condemned the unpatriotic act and started an investigation immediately into this disturbing allegation across all the correctional services. And anybody found wanting, you can get yourself to blame for whatever your eyes see. But the Chief of Defense Staff had said that it is very annoying the way this was done, where this person is being investigated for something like that, and rather do the patriotic thing of reporting to the agencies, you partner because of money.
Yeah, so let me add
whatever is
something
in the
little
account.
there. So they said that they cannot be everywhere. We as citizens need to take hold of our security by, mentioning and reporting any suspicious activities around.
Yes.
Yeah, so they also need to find a way to begin to sensitize people, sensitize schools. They should start teaching this from schools, catch them young, so that you know that security, you must be alert, and whatever you notice that's not working well, you just make that report.
Also, the minister has assured the public that they are on their way to turn the correctional services to proper reform places where reforms happen to match international standards, where inmates are totally rehabilitated. He said this is in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and this is the era of action, not just talk, where people would see results as soon as possible. I want to rely on his example he had already set with the immigrations and hope things go well.
Which other story? I was going to take Daily Sun. So our president, through the Minister of Education, Tahir Maman, disclosed yesterday at the 35th convocation ceremony of Yabatek that the federal government is proposing a 4-year roadmap for the nation's education sector as a way of addressing the numerous challenges facing the sector. He said a comprehensive 4-year strategic plan is underway, serving as a roadmap, and a crucial step in this direction was the National Stakeholders Workshop organized by the Federal Ministry of Education. The envisioned roadmap is poised to shape the future of education in our nation. I was hoping to get a breakdown of what the roadmap is, but now there's a roadmap coming, so we're now waiting for what's the breakdown of the roadmap in future, and we'll continue to look out for that. Okay, moving on quickly now to Vanguard. NBS report families spent more as inflation persists. Northern elders express concern over conduct of judiciary. Oba of Benin suspend Duke, appoint elders in Uhogwa village. We have roadmap to tackle challenges in the education sector, says Tinubu. Registrars to federal government grant full autonomy to varsities. Boko Haram, FG probes prison warders alleged connivance with terrorists. Okay, which story?
Okay, so I have the Oba of Benin story. The Oba of Benin Omonobanedo, Uko Apolopolo, the ORD.
I love that.
I like the way you just suspended.
Are you feeling
Well
like
done.
Yes, sir. I'm a proud one.
You finish well.
They are suspended the Enogi of Uhogwa village in Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State. And this is because the people of that area has written and appealed to him to rescue them from the jaws of the oppressors and make peace to be law-abiding. So the statement reads that the allegations of misconduct, the dereliction of duties were leveled against the former Duke Enogie. I don't know why he's a Duke of the kingdom. And so he has removed him and ordered that the second most elderly man in the village and other elders in the village should take over leadership in that village.
Yeah, so the Association of Registrars of Nigerian Universities, ANU, yesterday urged the federal government to grant full autonomy to universities to save Nigerian university system. They said in a communique issued at the end of its 18th annual retreat and the 74th business meeting in Benin City, Edo State, saying that there was an urgent need to rescue Nigerian universities from the stranglehold of civil service bureaucracy for efficient institutional governance. And they said also that the university system, given its peculiarities, should be formally excised from the civil service system and granted full autonomy. The government just needs to keep a respectable and watchful distance in accordance with the acts and statutes of the established institutions. And they also understand that the autonomy must come with top-notch accountability on their own part and integrity as well. So saying as well that the universities should be free from excessive governmental control and interference. They should be at liberty to determine the contents of their curricula, determine their admissions, recruitment policies and processes, as well as allowed to take full charge of their operations and governance. Just saying that they need the government to be able to function on its own. They would, think of ways to generate their revenue and all that. The government can just give them blocks of grants and funds and then move on. They can generate the rest and, follow up. They need this to work just as it works in other parts of the world so that we can have a better university system.
Final paper, Nigerian Tribune, let's find a story of not taking. Lagos impounds 15 petroleum tankers for parking on Port Access Road. Appeal Court reverses tribunal judgment sacking Governor Sule. Panic over recovery of 88.6 billion naira debt as controversy rages over disco's operating license expiry date. Labour Party factions clash in court over suits against the Imo governorship candidate. Terrorism, FG orders probe of misconduct by correctional officers. Okay. Any story we've not taken?
Lagos State government impounded 15 petroleum tankers parked indiscriminately along the second Rainbow to Mile 2 bridge on the Oshodi Expressway. I was in that traffic on Wednesday. And so they said yesterday they impounded them. Some of them were impounded within the Mile 2 estates, some parked indiscriminately. And the special advisor to the governor on transport, Sholagiwa, is encouraging Nigerians to report any of such indiscriminate parking that causes hardship to motorists.
How do you arrest tankers?
I feel so relieved. Yes, so we've been at it back and forth. They are also on the Badagry Expressway. Now, I'll just take a picture of your plate number and report. I'm telling you, because they cannot park on all parts of the road so that we are now forced to sit between, because that's how the robbery happens. You just see them in front of you. You can't go forward, you can't go back because you're helpless.
You're trapped.
And you're robbed. So they need to do better. Nupen can do better. They know they've done it before.
That is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is Black Friday in the US, and the whole world has caught up into this Black Friday frenzy. So on the show today, we have Davido Farms, who's also going to be sharing his Black Friday plans. So Davido Farms, the CEO, David Dollar. That's it, Davido. I do apologize. David Dollar Farms. I sincerely apologize, sir. CEO and founder, David Dollar Farms Nigeria, Mr. Segun Alabi, is here to tell us their plans for Black Friday. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Good
having
to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So everybody's excited about Black Friday because everybody goes out today to shop, to get discounts and all that. But you're here today to share with us what David Dollar is doing and what Black Friday discounts are available for us.
Yes.
So tell us about David Dollar Farms first.
All right, thank you. David Dollar is a pineapple farm estate management. You can also say a real estate farming. And what we specialize in is pineapple. We deal with pineapple. And the value chain in pineapple is enormous. You can't even number them. And today being Black Friday, in September when we were here and we tell people about what we want to roll out, that day, within 2 days, the number was completed. And today, a lot of people were calling that, oh, what do you have for us for Black Friday? I was okay, no problem. We're going to roll out something for you. And today now, for the first 100 people that will kill him, they're going to enjoy 200,000 and some other benefits.
Discount or
it's a discount, not a cash. Okay. Discount. Yes.
Okay. Oh, so you know, pineapple is pineapple farming. I've heard it's such a tricky business or farming. Why did you decide to do pineapples?
Thank you. That's a very good question. We've done so many agricultural practice. We've done cassava, we've done maize, we've done vegetables. And come to think of it, pineapple is so blessed that when you are into it, you will get the right thing. What do I mean by that? There's a fear in the heart of every farmer that when they produce something, they don't even know whether they're going to harvest it. Why? Because cow can get into that farm and hit everything. But in case of pineapple, cow doesn't hit it. And it's a very rugged plant that you know that
Yes.
So the cow cannot enter into the farm and they want to eat it because of that pine. So it's a business that you can say, this is what I want to get, and you get what you said you want to get.
So how can people benefit from the agricultural business? Because, you know, after the last time you came, I was having conversations with a few people, and they were like, farming in Nigeria, anything can happen. Maybe tomorrow the government comes to say they want, you know, these parts of the land, change the policy. How do you ensure that people who buy into the pineapple farm are protected and their investments are protected?
Okay, thank you. Now, what David Dollar does, when we want to get a land, we don't just buy random land, because land is a very sensitive thing in Nigeria, in this part of the world. And when you don't meet the right people or the right person when it's come to land, you can find yourself in trouble within a short period of time. Yeah. We heard what happened in Ikota, in other places where their house been demolished. Now, coming to farming, when we want to get anything, we make sure that we reach the right source. If you check our website or our Instagram, you will see a lot of conversation, even with the king. Because if you want to buy, for example, where we are in Nagwe, it's more than 1,000 hectares. Now, one family cannot own that. So if you are dealing with one family without the notice of the king, you are in trouble. Because one person from family can just sabotage everyone. Yeah. But what they do in Agowe that make me feel interest and love with them is because when you are buying land, king must know. In fact, the money to be shared within the community or within the family must be shared in the palace. So that every family, if you are not in Nigeria, call one of your family. Everything is being transparent. So there is nothing like, oh, tomorrow I wasn't aware. We've been at Agowe for more than 3 years. We've not had any single issue with anybody. So it's secure.
So what if someone has an inheritance of hectares of land and decides, I want to do this partner, or want to partner with you, for instance? How does that work? Do you do that? Okay,
yes, we do that. In fact, if you have 100 hectares, just reach out to us. And then the other question about the government, that, government can come tomorrow and say this. You know that in Nigeria, pineapple is a tropical fruit. So it can only grow in a tropical rainforest. Okay. It can be grown everywhere. So like in the northern part of Nigeria now, you can grow it. Okay. If you want to even do it in savannah, you will spend a whole lot. But in tropical, because that is what that fruit even symbolized, that tropical fruit. So it can only be grown in tropical rainforest. In fact, there are some governments that have already reaching out to us that they want to partner with us. So last month, we had a meeting with one of the state governments in Nigeria. And then one of the things they said is, they've even done that pineapple before, and there was no single pineapple on the land. Why? Because they don't know the nitty-gritty when it comes to pineapple farming. And we are hoping, because Nigeria, if we are putting all our focus on government, we just wait the eternity. But individual can come together and let us build our nation. Like, okay, today now, before I come today, somebody sent a message from UK and said, please, we in diaspora, because it's one of the people who listened to us last time that we came here, and said, please, we in diaspora, please remember us. In fact, the man was saying, I actually want to come back home, but if I come back, what do I want to come back to? So it needs something to be built that when he comes back home, something will be coming. And this is where...
Somebody is watching you now, they want to understand exactly what the process is. So is it that you have the land is available, you plant for them, or you already planted hectares and you're going to assign and allocate them to a certain part of the farm and then cultivate for them? How does it work? Okay,
it's in two ways. But what we are selling today is already planted pineapples. Okay. So there's pineapple on it already. Okay. For those who key in the last time, some of them have even they are collecting their deed of assignment and all their documents already. And by first to second week of December, we're doing allocation. So we still have more. So if you kill in now, you'll be part of people that the land will be allocated to by December.
What's the value? Do you want to open stuff about?
Now, we're selling for 1.5 million per plot. And then because we are black and we are doing Black Friday. That's why we're black. So instead of paying 500,000 naira, you are paying 1.5 million. You are paying 1.3 million for the black. Once the Black Friday ends, it jumps back to. In fact, by January, I can tell you for free. And note this: by January, the price is going to be doubled. Somebody called last time that when we came here. He said, "Oh, I listened to you 2021 when you came to TVC, and it pains me that I didn't join that time." Now the person has gotten a home. So this is opportunity. And apart from that, for the first 100 people that we kill him, there's another special gift for them.
Like what?
Special gift for them. So that one, we don't want to be saying everything here, but there's a special gift for the first
Special
100
gift.
years.
Special gift. I just want to ask about the sort of sustainability part of pineapple. Given the videos we're seeing diapers, we're seeing clothing, we're seeing cutlery. In what ways does this, reflect on the pineapple?
Okay, thank you. Now, pineapple is a wonderful fruit, wonderful plant. Do you know that a lot of people just, what they know about pineapple is just, let me do juice or smoothie. But with pineapple, you can make cloth. With pineapple, you can make shoe. With pineapple, you can make diaper. With pineapple, you can make disposable plastic. So it's a whole lot of things embedded in pineapple. So the value change is so big. For example, in the next 15 months, by God's grace, we are working towards setting up our own factory that will be producing concentrate, and that will be the first in the whole of West Africa. And as I'm talking to you here, we have 3 off-takers already. One of them is requesting for 300 metric tons of concentrate per month.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
So that is a whole lot.
Making money in this country.
That's a new business.
That's a new business on it. And do you know what? In Nigeria, for example, our neighboring country, for like Cotonou, they produce and they bring pineapple to Nigeria.
Yes, we buy theirs.
Because we don't produce to the maximum capacity. We produce lesser than what we consume. Yeah. So we have to depend on other countries so that we can augment what we are producing.
We have our own.
We have land.
We also have variety.
Now, okay, let me tell you about variety.
Yes.
About variety. There's one they call Cotonou pineapple.
Yeah.
That one, the right name is sugar loaf. That one that looks like a pendulum. Like
very
that
sweet.
one is very, very. In fact, that one is not even good for consumption. To consume it raw, it is not good.
That one that we like.
That one that you like.
It's sugar, it's sweet.
The more you are taking is something is going on in your system.
Wow.
But the best one, like the one on the screen, that one is called a smooth cayenne.
Okay.
That one that they call it bende pine. Some people call it bende pineapple. That's the best. The best of the best. The best of the best is MD2. We don't plant that one in this part of the world because it's double. The expense on that one is double this.
So because of timing, I need to ask for payment plan options, and then
now
how long does the agreement end? What's the
okay? We have payment plan. If you drop 500,000, the remaining payments can be spread into 3 months.
Okay.
So within 3 months, you finish your payments. Now, what comes to the people who are buying this thing from us?
Yes.
Now, you get 36% of your capital for the next 5-10 years, which means if we are calculating of 1.5 million, it means you'll be getting 540,000 naira every year. Just go and sleep. We do the work for you.
Say amen.
Yeah.
So that is how
For the next 5 to 10 years.
for the next 5 to 10 years. And after that, because the value is increasing, so the value of your land is increasing. So by 50 years, you cannot be collecting 500,000 naira again. It means that it's going to be upward review of what you are getting. And for example, maybe every bush today, every urban area today was once a bush.
Yes.
Maybe in some years to this time, that place become an urban area. You can turn that place to a real estate.
We have to wrap up, but thank you very much. Is there any phone number that they can reach you on? That they want to get in contact?
Okay, the number you can reach on is 081 164 64 307. Maybe I just say it again.
Yes, please.
081 164 64 307. And you can also reach to us on our Instagram at Davidola_farms. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And once again, this is our sponsored segment. We are not investors or members of the Davidola Farms, but we appreciate that you've been here for this segment. Thank you so much. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, Move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So on the 15th of November, Nigerian rapper Oladimeji, popularly known as Oadips management, announced his death, stating that he had been battling with undisclosed issues for more than 2 years. Oladips later shared a new proof that he's alive and healthy days after faking his own death. It was also later speculated online that he had faked his death to promote his latest album. In addition to that, we've seen various stories on social media of different people who have used the online tool to fake an ailment in order to get public sympathy of donations or support, financial support for them. And this trend is quite disturbing, and many just feel it's worth to have a conversation about it because it goes beyond the moral of it, or the immorality of it, or even the ethics of social media engagement. These are conversations we need to have. What can't you do on social media? Where do you draw the line between what is right and what is your freedom to do, or your freedom of expression? You can call us on the conversation 081-0764-1679, 09024-16440, and you can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so in the last few weeks, we've seen these kinds of stories of somebody trying to, mastermind all sorts of ailments to get public sympathy. In this particular story with Oladips,
is the extreme.
He went way too far, where he faked his death. We don't know if he faked his death himself, or if it was his management that orchestrated it. We're not even sure yet of the details. But bottom line is that after they had publicized his death, the very next day, I think the album was dropped, and then people started reposting about the album, trying to purchase his album. And the moment he came out to say, "I'm alive," people stopped buying, because even Peter Doce's son, Yula Doce, came out to say, now that he is alive, people have stopped buying his album. What are your thoughts on this? Let's even start with the issue of this using death, social media, to get sympathy and attention.
When I heard it, I said, while we were here mourning Mohbad and the circumstances of his death and how to make sure that going forward policies are put in place to protect talent, somebody was thinking, look at the attention Mohbad is getting in his, now that he's passed, and I'm going to use it for my album. We really do have different kinds of people. And whether it was himself or his management is the same thing, because I do not think that his management will go ahead to do something without his, without him, signing off on it. It's sad how far that some things are no longer sacred. That things we have no respect for ourselves or people around us. Nothing. Everything is on the table. Everything is business. Everything is clout. Everything is content. For heaven's sake. Anyways, I hope that now when we talk about regulating social media, we understand that these are the topics we're talking about. These are the issues where someone can come out to fake their death. Yeah. I'm sure there's a law against it if this were to be done, maybe in newspapers or on TV, that you would come out, fake your death, and then come back after a while and say, hey, I'm alive.
I do mistake.
Is there a thing in the law?
So there's a trend now. In fact, this one is trending from the male disabled turn female makeup artist to the transgender guy who faked his own kidney failure in the hospital. He faked it.
Okay.
It's okay. That one go and do BBL, bomb. He now do it finish. Apparently, part of the recovery process is that something will block his urine. There's a procedure that they will use to open that urine. But before that was done, he has started doing videos where he was in excruciating pain, saying he has not urinated in 3 days. His friends would do the videos deliberately. We didn't know. All of us in the house were thinking, hey, this boy are using hand to buy trouble. We're pitying for him. And then, boy got girl. I really don't know where to stand now. So Isha do that one, finish. Then later, we didn't know that a procedure was done by the hospital to ensure that he started urinating and he had started. He left the story unattended. Then during that 3 days period he was waiting, there was where they were helping him to take out waste from his system. He took those videos as well.
So the
and
machines plugged to him.
Yes, he will leave the problem online, he will not tell the solution part. So the hospital later did a joint where they said nothing is wrong with him, we did a perfect job for him, everything had been done for him. So he decided to go looking for hospitals where he can continue the guys. And by that time, all the people of his kind are abroad because they have
sent money.
They open GoFundMe. They fund it very well. You know, that was when the person that started the GoFundMe and the doctors started to do their own videos and say, why are you trying to defraud people? Now money is on ground. We don't know where we go because till now, he has not come out to say he's fine, he's not fine. His family members are not even proud to be a part of it.
Maybe they say he's already peeing.
He's
So
paying
that's what
already.
she said.
Hey!
So,
But he let the story
so
happen.
as Miriam said,
Then we now get to this one now that did the height of it.
yes.
This one saying died.
So
The next one will be, heaven,
Yes,
come and
So
see.
come and see me.
So everything is on the table now. There's no way. We don't draw the lines anymore.
Not at all.
Everything, all the blurry lines have been removed and everything's up for grabs.
Everybody's just crazy.
Bisi, your thoughts on this?
This is where the government needs to sit tight. When you don't have... Human beings naturally don't know how to self-regulate. And that's why we have laws and regulations to help guide people, shape people so that the place does not become a banana island. If you allow human beings, whatever comes into their head, they will do, like we're seeing. Okay, this is the best way to get attention, let me do it. Oh, does it mean that I have to die first and pretend that I'm dead? Just to get this attention, let me do it. I've not been selling. What do I do? Do I go naked and start twerking so that people will come to my shop? Let me do it. There are no more rules because the government isn't... so we know that we have a lot of problems and the government is trying to say, okay, how do we give these people good roads? How do we give these people quality education? How do we give these people... But the people are evolving faster than the government is thinking. While the government is trying to even still help us solve the basics, we have moved from basics to madness. And so the government needs to step into that madness and help us. What I expect after he now came out to do a video is that first of all, they'll pick him up. They'll pick up his management. Who announced that this boy was dead? Let them stay in Panti and be explaining whose idea it was. That's how a proactive government will nip this in the bud. The one that says he's not pissing and allow people to be doing GoFundMe, they will pick him up. From the hospital, they'll first of all chain him there. And he will explain why he decided to tell that lie to get the public sympathy. And two, we're always in a hurry to throw money at problems. Why are we rushing to send money? There are people schooling in Abuja. I took it which day? They don't have classroom. They stay under the rain. There's a stench of a dump site in where they are studying. Nobody has done GoFundMe to help those little children that are the leaders of tomorrow. We're doing GoFundMe for somebody who decided to change gender. Because we don't know what to do with our money. We don't know how to get our priorities right. Everybody needs to take responsibility for this.
You see, when you mentioned that government is a step, I was thinking to myself, government again? Because I remember this government tried to regulate social media during the Lai Mohammed's time. Oh my goodness. I remember the backlash. How can you try?
Yes, want to gag us.
So yeah, they want to gag us. Because even today, if they come out to say, let us regulate, the conversation is still, I was privileged to be invited, I think during this week, to Pan Atlantic University to speak on, okay, so they're asking, like those of us in the media industry, what kind of research do you think we should do to support what you're doing? So we had to come out and tell all the various challenges. And the conversation was still about social media regulation. How best do we regulate it where the Gen Zs or they don't feel like we're gagging them, but there's still freedom of expression, but with some kind of regulation such that you don't hurt somebody else. Because in this situation, you're hurting other people. First of all, many have gone out mourning. They could have actually got to start doing black, what they call those black T-shirts and having those, what they call those things, the candle nights, candlelight procession, just because they thought one of their stars had died. These are things that can actually cause mental disorders to others because you affect their mental health by making them think somebody they love is dead.
Yes.
And then he comes back alive and you think, oh, we can all be happy. Because I saw the video. The guy was just laughing, okay, yeah, I'm back. His friends were playing with him, grabbing his hand. I'm thinking, you're a bunch of fools.
All right, let me add something small. So I always like to use the parent-child relationship when it comes to governance and leadership, right? It's not every time your child knows what is best for the child. At some point, the father or mother will sit up and say, this is what we are going to do. And if you shout, I will punish you because I am the father here. Most of the time, the people who raise the noises or don't do social media, are the Gen Zs. They are not real stakeholders. Some of them just want that freedom to be able to do anything. You can't have such freedom in China or Korea or Japan or Singapore. You can't have such freedom. So we need to, at some point, accept that for the betterment of everybody, government needs to put policies. And the government, too, needs to be seen to be doing what they're supposed to do. It's distrust that makes it look like once we shout, they will go back and change the policy because they, too, are not doing what they're supposed to do. So we will call the government because it's now looking like if we leave Nigerians, we'll become a banana island. Nobody will regulate. Anything can just go. And we don't want our country to be like that. We don't.
So the social media has been a huge helpful tool in the hands of Nigerians. In fact, in change of government in 2015, we used Twitter. We used social media a lot. And a lot of us have decided that this powerful tool must not go. Where you send an SMS or an email to a bank about a failed transaction, they won't answer you. Just tweet it. Then they will come to the comment section and answer your question. You'll be asking this, we don't have light, we don't have light. You go there, they come there. So we cannot just, brand it like that. We must also bring in the good. But regulation is the only way to retain sanity.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, these people who have been affected are the same people who were all shouting under former Minister for Information, Lai Mohammed, that they even labeled him. They called, some people came on, when we handled it on the show and said he must be, his family. They wished him ill to the worst, of the worst form. Yeah. And they didn't want to see the side of putting things in perspective. Somebody should be arrested for impersonating somebody. Somebody should, for saying, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, and then coming, just accept me like that because I needed to make it in life, so I impersonated. It's a crime. Well, we must use English to separate it and put things in proper definition and perspective so we don't go crazy. People don't just wake up and say, okay, I want to make money today. How's the fastest way to get rich? Some of these funds, they must be probing. Whoever was the person who created a GoFundMe, if it was a GoFundMe, some people, imagine that Eniola's case, she put an account. Somebody should vet their account and see to it that the money is ill-gotten. Ill-gotten. Where you deceive people to get that money so that hard work will put value to hard work. This, you go see Z. You don't say all those kind of languages that we use to justify whether the money is clean or not.
She doesn't know it.
I don't know. No, she's more strict than me.
All of those nonsense must be put to, meted to the best way. Reduce it at least as much as possible. Yeah. We're not saying that social media cannot be used for your business and all that, but it cannot be used as a fraud tool. Yeah. It has become a fraud tool, and it's annoying. There are no genuine cases again. You don't know which one to trust. Yeah. Those of us who like to give me, I don't even answer. Even no matter the kind of message you send to my page, I can't respond. Once it's about money, I can't do anything.
So let's go back to how this regulation thing started and why there was a lot of backlash at the time. Because it was, let's say, the timing at the time and the environment really wasn't ready. Thought that there's some things that government was doing and they didn't want to hear the people talk. So we took it, many people, I was not part of it, took it as if it was an attempt to gag young people from speaking their minds. But, there's something they say that when what an older person can see sitting down, you, a young person, you climb a tree and still not see it. Because it showed at that point, even though it seemed like it was political, it showed that this could lead to what we're facing today. Now, many people who are against it want regulation because they have been affected by the lack of regulation of social media. This GoFundMe that everybody just puts up, what is the process? Can anybody just, you know, or you send a bank account, a bank number, and then people are just putting money into it. There has to be a way that's regulated to make sure that the person asking people, the general public for money, are not being scammed. The regulation now, I mean, I'm sure that we're at the point where we understand that regulation is needed. You know, the example, people will say that when the cars were first made, there were no seat belts. But when we now start seeing accidents and realizing that you had to be able to strap yourself to the car when there's a head-on collision or something. So that is how it is with social media. It needs to evolve in such a way that it becomes a safe place for everybody, and also be able to detect those who want to use it for evil and be able to prosecute them.
Let me take this call from UK. Ola, thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Morayo, Miriam, Nima, and Gabifi. Actually, this is a very, very good discussion. The only thing I just have to say concerning regulation of the media, because of what is happening now, we need to be careful because the crop of leaders we have in Nigeria, they do take advantage of situations. It might be okay for us now because of what happened now for us to be clamoring for regulation. But don't forget that politicians at some point will use it against the people at some point. I cannot remember any thriving democratic government in the world where this is happening, regulating the media. The only thing I will say is it should be an individual thing. Anybody that felt swindled by what people are doing now, claiming to be dead now, they can approach the court separately to address that, rather than saying we want to do a blanket cancellation or blanket regulation of the social media. If you have a kind of a bad detrimental effect for our democracy, the way the politics is played in Nigeria, they will use it against the public. People will not be able to talk, and at the end of the day, we will know that we are the one that caused the problem. So we need to be careful for what we wish for.
Thank you very much, Ola. You know,
yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are also mistaking the word regulation for cancellation. Yeah. So regulation means that people are going to sit down and they'll bring in issue by issue and discuss it, what is healthy for Nigerians and what is not. So it's not a total cancellation.
Absolutely.
It's all stakeholders will be involved.
And it's a global conversation. It's not just Nigeria. You know, abroad you have issues of catfishing. You have different people are creating fake accounts to swindle people, to collect money, So it's not a Nigerian problem. These things is being spoken about on a global scale because every country is finding a way to regulate within its own borders. What do I do to control and regulate my interests, my own ethnicity, who I am, my identity, my culture, these are values countries are trying to. So it's a conversation we need to start having, especially because people will take advantage.
Nigerians have largely accepted that anything Western defines them. But whatever is Nigerian, they will scare at it. They will call it all names. We go to the Hajj and we cannot do WhatsApp video calls. We're not afraid of that. Nigerians will cope. They will go to Saudi. They can't do WhatsApp video calls.
Not allowed.
So we'll be recording audio. They'll be managing the way they can manage. They can't do Facebook. Even in Dubai, there's no such freedom as a general freedom. But what the Westerners have sold to us is that in Africa, once your leader is trying to regulate some protective thing for a sovereign nation, it's God, they kill it. People have been tearing former President Obasanjo down for saying we should have a democracy that suits us as a people. You know, every form of definition is over freedom. I don't get how our people think these things. Even within our existing laws, under the criminal justice laws that we have, most of these things that we are seeing, that we are accepting, are crimes.
So
when somebody did a video and called Eniola Badmus a terrible thing, and she decided, let me have a criminal defamation suit against this person, the world said she was using power. They said she was using power. They called her all sorts of names. Then when Blessing CEO called Davido a name because Davido is a loved person to them, Nigerians called Blessing CEO the name she should be answering. I don't understand. So why is it based on our biases and our sentiments per time that we interpret what somebody else interprets for us as what our laws should mean to us?
And that's not a nation.
What is your dignity supposed to mean? I will wake up in the morning as NIMA and say, these are NIMA's rules, these are NIMA's laws. And when I come to Nigeria, as a Nigerian, this is what Nigeria makes acceptable for me as a Nigerian, proud to be one. Not what America, it said this now how people used to do. The moment they even use mistake to get masters abroad like this,
that's the end of the
Harvard standard is this side. It's what of Unilag and Coca standard. What is the problem with us? Why are we not proud to be who we are?
Absolutely.
I love that. So that also would help us define who we are. The problem we have is that we don't know who we are. We're not going to lie about it.
Absolutely.
Who is a Nigerian? What makes you a Nigerian? Can you stand up and say Nigerian is this, a Nigerian is that? You don't know. We don't know. So we need to define who a Nigerian is. That's one. Secondly, what does it mean to us to regulate social media? It means everything that must be posted must be true and must be verifiable. It's as simple as that. Nobody's saying shut down businesses. Nobody's saying don't use all the social media platforms anymore to dance or do whatever it is. But whatever must be posted must be true and verifiable. And when it is not, when it fails to cross that metric, you will be dealt with by the government. It's obvious that most of us cannot regulate ourselves anymore, so we need help from higher authorities. We need help from the laws of the land. Now, when we're talking about raising our children, we also must educate them that whatever you must post must be true and must be verifiable, or else the law will come after you. It has to start from somewhere. So while we are talking to our people and talking to our children and trying to regulate ourselves, we have seen that most people don't care. Most people don't even know who they are. Most people seek validation from social media. They don't have a self-identity. They don't have a self-esteem. It's the likes and the follows that moves them to do whatever they are doing. Government needs to take hold of that and help us in that regard.
Let me take Cass. Good morning, Cass. You're live. Good morning, Cass. Go ahead, please.
And others.
Yes.
Basically, what I want to say is quite different from your discussion. What I just want to say, I've been trying to get in touch, is about Miriam. I want you to please put Miriam in your TV adverts. I mean, TVC break, when you're on break. I've seen others like Uti, I've seen you, but I've never seen Miriam. Can you?
I didn't get that. I'm sorry. We didn't hear you very well in the studio, but hopefully our producers heard you. I mean, this is a very, I think this conversation is moving to the issue of identity, because the truth is that we as a people must understand that this country is all we have. I mean, sometimes I wonder how people are so confident in posting certain things. And when I go to their page, I realize, oh, this doesn't live in Nigeria. Because they feel like, I can just post anything. I can dump anything. They'll be all right. But for those of us who live here, you must understand we have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, to our neighbors. It is totally irresponsible for you to wake up that morning and say, we're going to fake your death. So that people can buy your album. For you to even think that you should be in panty. Somebody said that earlier.
Yes, I know.
Somebody, in itself, it's insanity.
It's criminal.
It's insanity in itself. It's insanity. So it doesn't make any sense. So because to the extreme, because even in Lagos State, I know that it's illegal for you to do attempted suicide.
Yes,
you can
if you
go to jail.
that thing, they will arrest you.
Yes,
for trying to take your own life.
Exactly. It's a crime in Lagos State. Yeah. So this in itself should be a crime. If you had said that you're dead, maybe we should just help you to make it maybe the dream come true once and for all, so that we can easily mourn in peace.
Psychiatric evaluation.
Because the truth is that it is totally wrong and completely wrong. But it now takes us to the issue of societal decadence. How do we bring ourselves up from this? Because it's not only government. I don't like us to just focus on government. Is the easiest, easiest person to blame.
Yeah.
So you started with how we perceive ourselves. So today, on my way to work, listening to the radio, you know how you read some of the news mentions and then the comments you get from people. Oh, this country is just a banana republic. Oh, this country is just a jungle. Oh, they will say what they have to say, and it's something that maybe has been said or even misunderstood or misinterpreted. But they end everything with, this country is a jungle, it's a banana republic. I feel that we've gotten to a point where Nigerians feel, if you put Nigeria, you have to put banana republic or something negative beside it. Even sometimes, even when the thing is positive, but because the person didn't understand it, he has put Nigeria as a bad thing. As a bad thing. We need to start looking at our country differently. We are not saying that this country does not have its problems or its issues. There are so many. You know that we talk about this every day. but there's so many good things also happening daily amongst us, you know, in our
Pineapple guy.
neighborhoods, in communities.
Yeah.
We can highlight those. And because those things are happening in our country, they're happening because Nigerians are good people.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, when you hear something, try and look at it beyond, you know, face value, beyond, let's slap a negative connotation on Nigeria. Let's see what we have done to contribute to that bad situation and how we can make it better. So that will now also be our identity. The way Americans love America. You would think that when you go to that country, the street is paved with gold. Like, you know, you think it's Hollywood when you go. And then now we now see people lying on the streets. Many people without homes. You know, shelters everywhere. Shelters are filled. Hunger, we see a lot of that in America. When Americans come to talk about their country and their flag, you'll be like, this is the best thing to ever happen to the world. So we need to get to that point where we recognize that this is the only country we have, and we are good people, and so our country is a good country.
Thank you. Well done. We have a lot of clapping moments today. Let me take this call. Ose, you're live.
Hello.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Please, I just have a question to ask.
Yes.
Because people always talk about regulating social media. In Nigeria, does it mean we don't have a law against raising false alarm?
Law against raising false alarm?
Does it mean there is no law in Nigeria against raising false alarm? Because what that guy did is a false alarm. So does it need to regulate social media for such people to get punishment?
We have laws.
There should be.
That's just my question. Does it mean we don't have law against such things in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Apart from regulating social media. Well, in America, they don't regulate social media, but we can't raise such a false alarm.
Okay. It's something that we can always find out.
How is America? Wait, please. Sorry, darling. In America, they don't regulate social media. How is America? Where your children can go to school and somebody will just pop up the gun and shoot everybody. How do we want to be America? We don't. We should know who we are and decide to create who we want to be. We should start with self-love. Recently, I stopped talking to a friend because she finally moved abroad. And anytime she called was one lamentation of Nigeria to another. Nigeria is this. It's not happening here. It's not. I said, but I'm here. And I'm making it here. And I'm doing well here. And there are lots of other people who are doing well here. No, I don't know. Nigeria is just... So at some point, I said, please, can you stop having this conversation? You are draining my energy. We enter the taxis and taxi man is complaining. Everybody's heaping curses on the country. And you want the land to bless you. It can't bless you.
Abi?
What you curse can never bless you. So we need to re-engineer our minds. The issues we think we're having here, they're having it worse in other places.
In the world.
The day I went to New York, I saw all of them. Everybody was begging. Most of the people were sleeping, like she just said, under the small tents. Nothing. People were still complaining in the land of your dreams, a land of plenty, or however they call it. If you don't stay in the system, you will not know. And they too went through a process. America is over 200 years old. We're just 60-something. So we should be patient with ourselves.
Okay, so taking us to that level, because I like where this conversation is going. Aside from what we started with, let's move into the identity problem, the democracy that works for us. You know, we started the conversation with the former president, Obasanjo, who was saying that we need to customize and, what's the word? Try to curate our own democracy that works for us. And many went against it because sometimes you just said we don't want to be Americans, we don't want to be British, we don't want to be Indians, we want to be Nigerians. Yeah. And how do we still function in a country that can still uphold the tenets of democracy. Yet imbibe the value of the culture, heritage, and who we are. What can we do to marry these things where there's a handshake between our culture, our belief system, and democracy and the belief in and the human rights of people? I mean, that's really the foundation of democracy, where everybody has a right, has a voice in governance. So what do you think? I mean, let me come back to you, Nima, because I know we're discussing it sometime this week already on this issue of the customized democracy, as I like to say it.
Of course, we can have what suits us. We can have something that captures our ways, that, captures our system. One of the things that colonialism did was look at the system that works and upset it. Upset it so bad that it will be confusing for you to think it was possible to redo it. So our traditional schools have been demonized. Our traditional ways have been demonized, and we are upholding it because of the kind of education we get. We'll tell ourselves, it cannot work again.
Wait, Nima, you're going too fast. Calm down. This is that what you said is very powerful. Let us take it step by step. Because of the kind of education we get. Because if we got native education or proper education, we would respect.
We know who we are.
We know who we are. But because of the education, we're still going to unpack that. I'm not sure if Mariam agrees, but we have to, because of the Western education we have, it has helped us to water down our essence.
We are the ones who are continuing the watering down. We have been told and we have believed and conditioned that our own is lesser, it's not suitable, it's not workable and cannot be practical. But the Chinese own, that nobody had the chance in the world to go and scatter, is working for them. The form of education they get is speaking in their own language. And an average Nigerian, I deliberately watered down the perfect English I was raised to speak small Nigerianness as much as I can find it. And that's the starting point. Don't say it's not, if it's not this, it can be this. It can be anything you make it to be. Nigerian can decide today and say, okay, this will be our formal one. And all schools will start to accept it. Let's start to grow that. And before you know it, little by little, it will become the standard for all of us. But because every day we look at it, it seems Herculean, Abi, is that the English? To think that we can have a local language and write in it. So we all speak English, so let's just continue to speak English. Nobody wants to accept the terrorism that colonialism brought. 500 years of slavery, of traveling our people, destroying whatever history we had. And so we'll just, let's just continue to speak.
Let me take a call. John has been holding. George, good morning, George. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning. I'm George, not John.
George, go ahead, please. I heard you.
Yes. What oladips did is a reflection of Nigerian society.
Right.
It's very condemnable and regrettable. Yeah. Are you with me, Mariam?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Mariam, you have said it all. Nima, you have said it all. BC, you have said it all. But I need that young man to be arrested. Nigeria is not a banana republic.
It's not.
For crying out loud. Please, let's get things straight. That young man must be arrested. This was how digital robbery and stealing started. And nothing was done until it ate deep into our youth skin. Now, this young man must be arrested. Amen.
Thank you very much, George. We're going to say something. I thought
Okay, so earlier, you were talking about, I agree with you where, the kind of education we have, which is really basically Western education. And so we have watered down our own essence and who we are and what our values are. We have been taught that who we are is less than what we have been colonized by. But here we are today. Do you understand? We cannot go back. We can only go forward. So and that means that we have to marry both. We pick what is good from what we've learned from the Western world, and then we pick what is good here. Because we can't sit down here and say that there's some of our traditional rules or some of our traditional beliefs that were not injurious to women and children and, and societies at large. And we know what Western education, medicine, has brought us. So, and also democracy has brought us, So we will just take what's good from there, remembering who we are. So now where we are now is about putting those two together. Let's not throw everything out.
I was taking a course with Praise recently, and was reminding us about the systems, because the only way we can really fix Nigeria, our identity, is if we create the right system. So, for example, if the system that produced the king is a system that is sacred and is not diluted, I would trust the king that, okay, you are the anointed one, not because a politician installed you or somebody just like you're the richest person and you made you king. Those are part of the things, those systems, the weakness of our systems is part of what has caused us, aside from the education we have, that's caused us to not trust, to mistrust and even distrust the system in many ways. So the truth is that if we had, for example, just give one example of many, if the person who became Oba actually went through the traditional rites and it was picked and introduced the person and now comes to say, this is the rule, this is the law, we believe him. But if it was, for example, somebody that nobody wanted, when he speaks,
let me give you one good example. As democratic as Great Britain is, they have a monarchy of centuries.
And their democracy
the democracy is around that monarchy, So they understand their culture and what is valuable to them, and they've built their democracy around it. And so that's what I would like for us to do.
Colonize ourselves, so I don't even know why we're even copying them. It's British. I be Britain
Don't
that
understand
colonized us.
colonialism.
But we have to go on a break now.
Parliamentary system of government was what they were
Don't
doing.
understand
We came, we
colonialism.
decided to change our own and changed it in a nonsense way that
Let
we
me
don't
tell
even
you
know
why.
what we're doing.
I have a
Because
call.
There's no
Americans
money.
is like
Let me take
like
this call.
Mental
we're like
Can I
Nigerians.
say
Good morning, Olufemi. Hello, good morning, Olufemi, I believe. From
good
the UK,
morning.
you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to all the guests. Your
Morning.
finance.
Morning, sir.
I just want to say you guys made my day.
Thank you, sir.
You are. I'm so happy that you are taking my mind. This program is for my wife. She normally watch all your program. But I key into virtually everything that you guys have said this morning. You made my day.
Thank you.
I don't know. I can't be mentioning the names. You guys are. May God just bless.
Thank you, sir.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Now, what the government needs to do, we don't need to learn English. The government must be able to learn, study in our own language. There was this, what was it, Professor Oluwole of blessed memory. She's dead now.
Yeah.
We have this notion that the Hausa Fulani are not brilliant until they started teaching them in their own language. And all those guys came out with first class, all A's. It's not they taught them in their language. Okay? I went to New York in June. It's not a bed of roses. I live in UK. It's not a bed of roses. There are people that struggle. I work in Ireland. A lot of people are struggling. Their own people. We must be able to recreate the Nigeria of our story. It's not going to be a perfect society. You guys have just nailed it. I don't want to waste the
Thank you
time
very
of
much.
other callers.
Thank you very much, Mr.
God
Olufemi.
bless you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I like the angle Nima took us to. And she has forgotten that the day we talked about teaching in our own language on this table, the division we had on which language should represent was a problem. So we also need to sort out our divisiveness. We are not very united. We are not a collective people. We need to work on that. And we need to change our mindset. There's nothing wrong if I sit back and in my state, they decide to pick one language to represent the state, for instance, or in a region, they decide to pick one of the dialects to represent the region. What is obtainable everywhere is that everybody will come to an agreement. Okay? It doesn't mean this is more superior. It just means they have weighed so and so, and when it comes to linguistics, this should represent this, and everybody will be okay with that. But in Nigeria, we're not like that.
Like,
We're not
we haven't gotten there
why
yet.
did they not pick
why is it not-
Asaba dialect?
my own?
Why is it Onichugbo that they are picking? Why is it Iseluku that they are picking? That's how we are. We also need to sort that. In being who we are, in having integrity in ourselves, we must learn to accommodate. We must learn to sometimes sacrifice for the greater good. We must learn to think in those directions if we need to go forward. I particularly will love children to be taught in our local languages. We have stories that are lost in English because there are no indigenous writers. There are no indigenous interpreters. When I was growing up, my grandmother would gather us in the evenings and be telling us stories of, different things that happened in our culture. I can't remember most of the stories now. The only person who can remember is likely my father. But right now, I'm not with him where I can get some of these stories. If my father goes now as the head of that clan, our stories are gone. The stories of Umojife in Asabaland is gone forever. Except, of course, now he's still alive. I quickly go and document it and maybe write a book or something, which is money. My sister,
you use your phone. Start with your phone.
So we need to preserve as much as we can our culture, especially the aspects of our culture that has worked. And sometimes they say, these Oyibo people showed us some of our cultures, we're killing twins, we're burning people in their own place. They were doing a lot of evil
witches.
in their own place.
Witches with knowledge,
but
they were burning
they minimize that for the public. All this gayism and all those things has been in their culture. Read their history. They have brought it here now. We are buying it. We are embracing it because we don't know who we are.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this identity, Nigerian identity. And I was going to tell BC earlier that don't be upset with your friend. Usually when Nigerians travel abroad, especially when they are hit with the reality of living in a new country, the real challenges, they try to justify the reason why I'm here by constantly putting down Nigeria, because that's the only way they can make themselves feel good that, you know what, okay, I made the right decision. You know, so but many people who travel abroad, those who believe in who they are, don't talk down on Nigeria. They believe in Nigeria, but they are here because I have migrated to have a better life for my family, and I want to learn something. I want to learn the skills, and probably go back home 20 years later on to those Nigerians are different from the Nigerians who are just trying to they're just there. They're just there to escape. And they're different.
Yeah, but just to add to that is that there's also. It's also a period, you know. There's like when you even visit, you're awed by all the positives where you've gone to. So there's also a stage where right now, all the negatives that they've experienced, they're seeing the opposite in positive. Eventually, you start hearing things like identity, where there's some places that they go to, they can't sit at a table because of who they are. Then they now start understanding, oh, even with my issues there, at least I'm a person. I am known. I'm not just I'm not just those black people, those Nigerians, you know. When you go home and you call my name, they can follow you to my street, the number of my street. So
house.
Allow her that period and she will adjust eventually. But I was going to respond, you know, when we were talking earlier about the different languages and how we should teach indigenous languages. True, I like that. That would be fantastic. But we're here today where we are with the not deciding which of the languages we'd rather pick because of colonialism. I don't want us to forget it. I don't want us to think that Nigerians just decided to be the way they are today out of their own free will. There was a reason. And Nigerians today, I promise you, they're different from Nigerians 20, 30 years ago. The way that we're thinking. You can see it in little ways. It may seem little actually to you, but it's big. When you see it in our fashion that has gone global, in our music, in our food. Like when you watch social media, when you watch people, you see Koreans making pounded yam and egusi soup. We've become mainstream. People are learning our pronunciations.
Thanks to the Nigerians abroad.
Good. Well, no, it's a combination of everything.
They are the ones that took our culture abroad. Let's recognize that.
It's a combination of many things, you know. So we will get there. I just want us to know we'll get there. Then there's a lot of distrust that was caused because of colonialism, because, you know, at that time, it seemed like, you know, what the colonialists did was to pick some people and make them supreme, better than the rest. So there's always going to be that clash. But we will eventually move from there. Now, remember I had mentioned about that white man that goes around Nigeria and takes videos. So he's been in Jos, right? And he says, I'm in Plateau State in northern Nigeria. Aunties, if you see the comment below, don't call us North. We are middle belt. We are this already. And I know, do you know, I laugh because I know where it's coming from. There's been so huge marginalization that people have felt, and that by calling them North, because the middle belt feels that when you call us North, you're actually calling us the bottom of the North. We're not the best of the North. We're not the elites of the North. So we know that we're middle belt, but in Nigeria altogether, it's actually North Central. So it's when you hear people discuss like that, it's not just because they don't want the best for Nigeria, it's because of where they have been put and been marginalized, and they're asking for relevance
and that's why there was a confab to bring all of us together. To what do you want? How do you, everybody wants to be identified, to be known, to have a voice. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. You cannot, well, no more north, south, what is it, the 6 geopolitical zones now. There are multiple zones because everybody wants to be identified. So there's got to be something that is totally, completely curated for this country. This is a very special country compared to any other part of the world. And we really need to begin to see ourselves as that special. Nima, let me let you read a few comments, or you want to say something?
No, I wanted to talk about the language thing. So even the English language we speak was not chosen. Nobody sits somewhere. When they sit somewhere and agree that this is the one we should accept, is dominance. It's dominating on the people and subjecting other cultures. In China today, they have a general one that the government thinks is best, and all the minorities feel marginalized and are disgruntled till today. And so you don't have a nation. What you have over time is an evolution of that common language. It comes about with time. It's not choosing. Nobody in the whole of my region is superior to anybody. If you go to Afemai today, people generally just know a word of every other form of language. I am from South Ibe. They don't speak exactly the same thing in Agbede. They don't speak exactly the same thing across. We don't even, I can hardly sit down and in a fast tone understand what the Benin man is saying. Yeah. But if you speak slowly, I can pick common words and say, oh yes, the person is from my area and he's speaking. We have some common words. All the way to Delta, to Ishekiri, we have common words like money, God, all of that. They all have a general tone to how they are interpreted. Even in the Igbo dialect, there are words that are similar. So we will leave it with time, and we will get to that point where this is the general one. Everybody with time accepts. Through marriage, childbearing, and traveling, we will get to that. You will evolve. We will start somewhere. But when we keep thinking, oh, we have an alternative, let's not try this evolution and get there. So we will step where they left us, as they left us when they came with their colonialism, trained, assimilate, and force our people to associate by changing every system, including our justice system. And if you have left our justice system where it was at that time, we would have evolved. If you know how terrible the Englishman system was before sanity came, you will not want to be like them. But they've gotten here today and claim to be the world standards. Yeah. Wherever they went, when even the Americans, the real Indian Americans, the real Australians were displaced because of these people's selfishness across the world, and you say they are the standard for who? To who? Please.
Please drink water.
Yeah, drink water. Calm down. Calm it down.
Thank you.
Let's take a few comments on social media.
Yes, so Junel Lenu says, we need laws to penalize bad behavior regardless of social media or not. It's the bad behavior we allow that people present on social media, and our society applauds bad behavior. In West social media, bullying is a crime. And then official Lil Cute says, the day Oladip's supposed death was announced, I was reading emotional comments on his page. Checked again, some of those people were angry. He's not dead. But people are very funny. You said this must be a prank. Now it's a prank. Why are you angry? Who is fooling who? Nigerians.
Beatrice says the conversation is strong. So they didn't go on a break for this long. Baltroshmo says Italy had to pass a law banning the use of English in the country to tell you how far English had gone in the country. Mike Obalisa says the universal language in Nigeria remains Pidgin English.
It goes back to the conversation on restructuring. With all the time this thing was trending, restructuring. Like, what does that mean? Restructuring means different things to different people. Because we have too many languages, and if we break down in smaller bits where everybody is an individual entity, how we have United Arab Emirates. Everybody is an independent, but we're still united. So there are different conversations, but I'm sure this administration is not ready to focus on that right now. They're trying to rebuild the economy, rebuild the nation. Eventually, maybe we can still have this conversation. But Nigerians really believe that we need to find our identity. And from finding our identity is where everybody feels they are part of this family called Nigeria.
So I think the government and other Nigerians should remember history. Nigeria was put together by outsiders. They brought people, just put them together and slapped a name on top and said, okay, this is Nigeria. The people, although they were doing trade with each other, depending on the localities, they were not ready to become one at the time that they were put together. And we're still seeing some aspects of that today. And that's why they said, and when they started, even when they got the independence, it was agreed that it would be a true federal system so that at least different voices will be heard. It's like the way it's done even in America now. There's no center. The other parts, we come in parts and we, just pay allegiance to the center, but there's no strong center. What we're operating in the name of federalism is unitary system of government, which we will be going round in circles till we decide on changing it and breaking it. Some regions can stand, other regions need help, but it's something that we must decide, because this forcing of we have to be together, we have to have a strong center that every other thing trickles down from, is not working for us. So I'm looking towards this administration to say, how do we understand what this federalism means to us? How do we break it down? How do we, even the new, because initially it was just 6 geopolitical zones, we have more now. How do we recognize everybody? How do we give them their own power? And then they just pay allegiance to the center. That's what will work. Do you know how many languages we have in this country? It's fantastic. It will be difficult to pick one.
South Africa has 11 official languages. So there's English, there's Afrikaans,
Yes.
and then they said 9 other ethnic languages. But they said that mostly they still, communicate in English.
Okay.
So the thing is, that's colonialism. It will take a while to get there. So for Nigeria, how many official languages do you think we may end up with?
We cannot have all.
See,
Let's be
languages.
honest.
We can't have all.
We can't have all.
Just a moment. Wait.
We can't have all.
It's a start.
Over 300.
When we see it as can't, when we see the negative, we will not let it happen.
No,
Over
Nima,
400
it's
We
not
will not let
that.
it happen. How many languages are fully taught now in our schools? How many?
Okay,
Because
Nima,
we cannot
understand
decide.
this. Okay, Nima,
That's the point. Why can't
no.
we decide?
Nima, understand this. It's not just about learning.
I need to hear everybody.
See,
Please hear
I
everybody.
said what I said, not because
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know that I mean it that way. What I'm saying is, don't tell me this one should not go. This should not. This should not. Don't tell me not.
Yes.
Don't tell me my
That's the
identity
problem.
should
That's
not.
the- that's our
No,
problem.
just the
Beginning.
That's
Don't
the
tell me my identity should not. What I said to my neighbors, you speak Yoruba in your house. My kids, yes, we're Hauchi, but can you speak Yoruba to them? When Gofran used to stay with my northern neighbors, can you speak Hausa when you speak to her? Thank you very much. Just speak a local language with her. And so she was able to speak local language. The other one could speak Yoruba. There's a reason to it. I will try and speak as much Hauchi. Whatever Nigerian language we speak, wherever we stay, let us be able to speak it.
How do
I am
we
not
present
Yoruba.
to the
I speak
international
it.
community?
So that's the point. That's the point I'm making. I'm not saying that all 300 languages must be officially taught.
Okay, fine.
I'm saying teach what you know to your child and let it be legal for you.
So we're saying the same thing.
Let me come and tell you what-
It sounds like we're saying the same thing.
In the region.
Wait.
So the question I had asked was the official languages. So I hear what you're saying. It's important. We should teach our ethnic languages.
In our homes.
That's fine, in our homes.
How many homes?
Now, official languages, what it implies is... What it implies
no,
is
no.
there'll be governance now.
Leave it.
How many
One at a
languages
time.
in governance? How many languages will be used in governance? When we're talking of, just
Yeah.
governance, I think mostly.
General
How many?
interaction.
Yes.
Yes.
How many languages will we use?
Yeah.
We're not saying that you don't teach your ethnic languages, but there has to be some official languages, even when people come into your country, that they can speak in communicating with
Let me
you.
so-
Now, let us pay attention. Let us not throw away the fact that countries that are able to speak one indigenous or their indigenous language, usually maybe one or two. South Africa is different, because of their history, and they're trying to bring people together and give them a form of identity. But many countries, in Italy, they speak Italian. In the countries that
They're
they speak
rich
Portuguese.
there now.
No, it's not.
No, they're rich there.
They picked.
picked
It's not
one.
like there are
They
no
chose.
dialects in those countries, but they
have.
picked one.
They have
The
to
question
pick.
I'm asking
Now, but all those people don't feel, it's not a feeling of marginalization. They own it as their
It's our language
as their
too.
language. We
So
cannot do 300
let me be
languages
sure I
as
understand,
official
Nima. Wait, Nima,
language.
come back to you. Let me be sure.
I'm done.
You are married. You're from Middle Belt. Let me not say you're north. You're from Middle Belt.
I'm fine.
Your husband is from a
Edo
different.
State.
Yeah.
Tope is Yoruba. She's married to
Edo.
Edo.
South.
Now, in the house, they're already confused which language to teach a child. Let's imagine they're both teaching their children Yoruba and Edo. Now, you get to school, which language? You're living maybe in Southeast. And then you learn, in the classroom,
Anambra.
in the classroom, there are people from different parts of
Yes,
Nigeria,
so
not just
you
Yoruba.
sound-
Oh. So, which language, therefore, would they communicate?
Language of the region. Let
So
me
Southeast.
finish.
No, but
That's
within
why
that,
I said
wait,
all
within that
300.
Southeast, but there are still multiple languages
Yes,
within that
which one
Southeast.
do
So
we pick?
which one do we pick?
No problem at all. If a child lives in Lagos, the common general language among the Lagosians, not that there are no several dialects.
Yes.
We speak Yoruba. But there's
There's
there's several
I want
Yoruba.
you to take
There's
Southwest
several
out.
Yoruba.
I want you to take Southwest
Let her
out.
A
finish, let her
child growing
finish.
up of maybe Igbo descent in Lagos will speak Yoruba
Yoruba,
yes.
because
Already
it is
done.
the language they were taught in school.
Yes.
Which of the Yorubas did they pick?
Which is my own
Wait,
story,
wait,
my own reality.
Wait, come to reality, Nima.
Wait,
Calm down, calm
I'm
down.
giving you
Calm
example.
down.
You
Nima,
move.
Nima, we're following you.
Let I
Wait.
finish.
No, don't finish. Help me. That child in Lagos is not living in Festaco or Lekki.
No,
He's living in Badagry.
No, Southwest is the
Yoruba
easiest.
is Egun. It's not
not
in Lagos. It's Egun Yoruba. Now, what language are they speaking?
The child living in Egun Yoruba can speak Egun Yoruba just
Yoruba
by
is
living
the
there. But he will be
easiest.
able to speak the accepted Yoruba by going to school, the one in which his books are printed.
So how do we pick
Leave
that
that
one?
for the houses of assembly of each state to decide. You people like to confuse and elaborate it, so you see the impossibility. If you come to Benin, I bought Benin books, but I'm Afemai. I speak Afemai from home.
Yeah.
And I tried to read in Benin, and I read in Yoruba because I lived here. I picked other kinds of Yoruba because I see my neighbors speak it.
Okay.
No language was impossible for me to end up with at the end of the day.
So what was
if I
the
go to the
process?
north,
Hold on, Nima.
I will speak Hausa. I might not speak Jukun. I might not speak the other ones. But Hausa will be the one that they were using.
So we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing.
Open your mind that you can know all 300. And if you are in the Federal House of Assembly, yes, all 300. If you are in the Federal House of Assembly, speak in the one that you are from.
So people are more gifted than others in languages.
Speak in the one that you are from, and let one person who says, okay, let's have an interpretation.
How many interpreted?
Yes, put in that course.
That's not realistic.
You're not ready for that.
Okay, then.
If you put in that one, we will move from this colonialism
300
destruction.
languages.
But if we cannot put in the work, we will remain here speaking English.
I like
and be judging intelligence on somebody else's language.
Recognized that there will be an official language of a region. How do we get to the point of picking that official language of the region?
Southwest is the easiest.
How do we pick the Yoruba that's official?
Yeah.
Because if you pick
Wait, Nima, let me sit up, please.
It has been picked for the 3
By
major
the
languages.
people.
No, hold on.
Exactly.
3 major Igbo, Yoruba,
Yoruba
and
and
Hausa
Hausa.
have those ones.
Yes.
The problem now is the other geopolitical zones.
Yes.
How do we agree that is in Delta and other South is Urobo that will be the official?
Yes.
That's the problem. Nobody wants to step down.
Yes.
I'm from Isoko.
Teach all.
I'm from
Teach
Ijo.
all
You cannot
in
teach
Delta.
all. In your homes, you can teach your
Wait,
dialect.
pause.
But in the schools,
Please,
you must
pause.
have one.
I need to ask Nima a question. In a classroom, you have Irobo.
If that question is
You have,
the impossibility, I won't answer it.
No, so I'm just telling you,
speak
how
up.
do
They
you
are
speak out in the
telling
class?
you, speak up.
Wait, pause
Right.
now. Let's process it, Nima. I know I let you talk for a long time. Pause. We're in a math classroom now. We're in a classroom with children, and they're from different parts of Delta State right here.
Yes.
Now, I am supposed to teach them in 20 different languages in the classroom.
How?
That's confusion.
How
That's
do
not
you teach them?
confusion.
How
Please,
does
help
the
us.
teacher
Just
teach
hold
them?
on a minute.
Wait, help me understand.
Let's assume she's Urobo. You're in Shekiri.
Isha.
No, we're talking, you are using Delta now.
Delta, yeah.
And you're Delta Igbo.
Yes.
Or Ijo.
And I'm teaching.
Yes.
And I come and say a phone. And then I say it in Urobo. The rest of you look at me. And I ask you, what is this in your language? We find a common word.
You are the one teaching me. I don't know.
No, you don't have to. No.
You are the one teaching me.
Morayo,
You're my
you are
teacher.
asking,
How
Did
do
you
we
think?
write
Did you think
curriculum?
that my grandfather?
Hey,
Let me
no,
tell you
no,
something.
stay on this example.
Let me
Stay on this example.
I am tired. I am tired. Let me finish something.
wait.
Let me make this point.
Stay on the
My
example.
grandfather traded from my village to
Yes.
Badagry
Yeah.
and Calabar. What did you think he was speaking?
On 300 languages?
Did you think he was speaking a language, a particular? He couldn't speak like Calabar till he died, but he traded. They had a form of communication. And you're killing it here saying it's not possible, it's impossible.
No.
Please.
See, this kind of conversation happens only at confab, not here.
In those days,
easy.
Alafia is not a word for Yoruba people. It's a generated word from the north, from their traders
From
coming in
Arab.
and greeting themselves.
Arabic.
Please, we can get there. Stop telling me it's impossible.
Yeah.
Now, wow.
Okay. I think we can.
I think we can end
this
this
show.
show.
Time has come.
This is a mini confab.
And this is a conference where we cannot agree. No. The Nigeria is the problem. This is where Nigeria is where it is. On this table, we can't agree. So we have to go. Unfortunately, that is all we can take. And that's why they've colonized us, because we cannot agree.
No, that's not what
That's why we have to colonize now.
We will get
That's why
somewhere.
we agree. Have a lovely day. We'll see you on Monday. I mean, Veronica tomorrow. We'll see Veronica tomorrow.